There are 20,000 restaurant seats available in Aruba. 7,000 of them are in the hotels, but 13,000 of them are outside. And when you think about that number, and then you think about the number of hotel visitors that we have, 5,000 rooms, you run an 80% occupancy, that's 4,000 occupied rooms, 2 people per room. That's 8,000 people for 13,000 restaurant seats. Well, actually, in total, 20,000 restaurant seats. So there's no way that the number of visitors can fill the number of restaurant seats. So it's really not the problem so much of all-inclusives. It's the fact that there are probably far too many restaurants in Aruba. The restaurants, the Chamber of Commerce lists about 250 new restaurants listed in the past, or registered with them over the past 4 years. And so consequently, people obviously believe that there is potential in the restaurant business. The nature of the restaurant business is that you're going to get turnover, you're going to get those that succeed and those that don't. But to basically suggest that by controlling the all-inclusive business in the way that's suggested will somehow solve the problem of the restaurants, we don't think that's the answer. And one of the other concerns, of course, is the fact that there's been such a substantial change in how our visitors stay in Aruba over the past 5 years. In 2011, it was 15% of our visitors stayed in other accommodation. Well, now it's 1/3. Almost 35% of our visitors now stay in a private home, an apartment, or a condominium. It's a very different situation from what it was 3 or 4 years ago. And that really should be addressed as well. So our concerns are the fact that, one, what is being proposed puts an enormous amount of power in the hands of one minister to be able to determine how a business operates. Secondly, that any such legislation should be based on facts and information, and the report that was commissioned, we don't understand why it's not available. And then third, we think there are so many other factors that are of serious nature, particularly the number of restaurant seats, the significant trend in the use of other accommodation, that the problem or the challenge has got to be much more broadly studied and understood, and not limited just to this. With the legislation being presented to Parliament, the process is that Parliament then consults with key stakeholders, of which AHATA is one. And we met this morning with the members of Parliament of the AVP, and we had a very constructive meeting discussing everything that I've just explained to you now. There were eight members there, led by Jennifer. Chris Dammers was there. Donny Rasman was there. Renee Herde was there. And so we had a long and very fruitful discussion explaining our concerns and the history of how this evolved and the implications of what is being suggested. And then this afternoon, the MEP asked for a similar meeting, and we met with Evelyn and with Dangi, and we go forward. And that too was a very similar information gathering meeting, because they have received this legislation. They want background information. We won't be the only people that they will meet with and consult with. I know they're meeting with ATIA next week in the Chamber of Commerce, and they'll meet with other stakeholders as well. At the moment, the process is an information gathering one.